Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. 21st of April, updating you guys on the latest Inter news and the latest transfer news. But first of all, I want to thank you all for 3,000 subscribers. Great little milestone for this small little channel, small community. But thank you everyone that likes, subscribes, comments, shares my channel to anyone that you know in Interisti around the world. I appreciate you all. Appreciate your support, and let's keep growing and getting this channel to be even bigger and better. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So guys, still on a derby high. That post derby high is always really nice. The tears of the Milanisti on social media has been the cherry on top of the cake. Them crying about the offside call, them crying about fouls, them crying about this, that, oh, Inter VAR, Inter the new Juventus. Oh, I just love it. Love all the tears. But we've got a match to look forward to, the Roma match in just 2 days. And the latest news regarding Inter, and Adriano, as you guys remember, was at the derby at the stadium, and he had a great warm reception by the Meazza faithful, quite rightly. One of my childhood idols, as I talked about in my post-match reaction with Mo. And today he came to the training ground as well. He was part of the people watching over at the training session today with the boys. He didn't take part, even though it would be nice to see Adriano's left foot, see if he's still got that heat, packing that heat in his left foot, which I'm sure he is. Him alongside Zanetti. It was really good to see, and a nice little exchange between him and Inzaghi, who came over to Adriano in one moment at the beginning of training and said, visit us more often, because obviously he brought us some good luck. Lautaro scoring 2 goals, a 3-0 win. So yeah, Adriano should visit us more often. And speaking of Adriano, he did talk about Lautaro briefly after the derby win. He said that Lautaro is a worthy heir to the number 10 shirt that obviously he used to wear back in the day. So that's a big cosign coming from someone like Adriano. So Lautaro haters might have to lay low for a little bit after this performance and this cosign. Speaking of today's training session, there were actually a few Inter youth players present today, taking part of training with the first team, and their names are Moretti, Sangalli, and Casadei. Casadei, of course, is the midfielder that's catching a lot of eyes with his 14 goals, I believe it is, in the Primavera this season, which is pretty impressive. Moretti is a defender, Sangalli is another midfielder. So it's good that they're taking part in the first team training session. The reason is because Vidal is actually injured at the moment. He is an injury doubt for the Roma match because of you know who it is, that guy, the C word that I don't want to say before this channel gets banned, but Theo Hernandez. Milanisti were crying all about some stuff that's going on in that match, but at the end of the day, Theo Hernandez already on a yellow card, and look at that, the still image of his tackle on Vidal that's left him, suffering at the moment. Could have been a second yellow, but I'm not really one to talk about referees, but just putting it out there that could have been a second yellow. But yeah, Vidal, of course, he usually is the first midfield substitute, so he is going to be a miss. Because obviously that means that either Vecino or Gagliardini are going to have to be the first substitutes against Roma. But it is what it is. Inzaghi and co will have to manage. And speaking of the Roma match, in the build-up to it, Inter obviously are playing at home and already looking like another complete sold out at the San Siro Stadium. 70,000 plus tickets already sold from Inter side, and even the Roma away section is already sold out with 3,000 plus Roma fans traveling. So it's going to be another epic night at the San Siro on Saturday night. Obviously, I'll do a proper preview of the match tomorrow, but at the moment, the reports are saying that Correa might be returning to the bench after starting the last 3 matches in a row. So that means that it might be Dzeko, Lautaro. We'll see. I mean, it was predicted to be in this previous match, and we were lucky that Inzaghi finally saw the light. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see what happens. And I wanted to give a quick shout out actually to Stefan de Vrij. I think we didn't manage to cover him enough in my post-match reaction, but Everyone spoke about him when he got turned by Giroud in the last or the second last derby for that goal that Giroud scored, the second one, which I always thought was pretty harsh because it was a nice turn, but it was not like De Vrij went off to the shops. He just got that half a second off De Vrij, but De Vrij, according to reports that I read today on FC Internews, he spent hours studying and kind of working. He's got a personal tactician, a personal coach called Laurent Vrienlik, and he's been working in the last few weeks. Obviously, he's been struggling with injuries as well, but he's been working on himself tactically and mentally and physically to take this revenge on Giroud. And yeah, do you even remember what Giroud did in that match? De Vrij completely cancelled him out. So I feel like he's been criticised a lot this season, but he deserves his flowers for his performance in the derby. Now let's move on to transfer news. First, in-house news of the players that we already got. Ivan Perisic, another monstrous performance against Milan. That contract situation needs to be sorted ASAP. I need to see Ivan Perisic still in this Inter shirt next season. One of the leaders of this team for sure. And actually, it's not been spoken about, but even Perisic should also be mentioned when it comes to this future Inter captain. We always speak about, Barella, Skriniar, Brozovic, but we never speak about Perisic. And I think, especially if he signs this contract, he should be spoken about that because he has been here just a little bit less than Brozovic has, and longer than both Skriniar and Barella. So yeah, definitely needs to be mentioned. But anyway, talking about his contract, Perisic, obviously the way he's performing, he wants a raise, whereas Inter are trying to cut salary. Perisic wants around 6 million net a year, which is a slight increase from his current deal. Inter, they want to find an agreement, but it's definitely not going to be at the 6 million mark. They're looking more around the 4.5. They want to do a year with an option to extend. Perisic wants minimum 2, probably 3, but I think there looks like it will be found a middle ground will be found. And it's important that we get that sorted as soon as possible. On the other side of the flank, Dumfries is reportedly getting some interest. We already know Bayern Munich's interest because there's been a few months that we're talking about this Bayern Munich interest. However, today I read reports around Tottenham, Antonio Conte, our old coach, being interested in Denzel Dumfries, which is not surprising, and I think he would suit the Premier League as well. But let's see. It looks like just rumours at the moment, and according to reports, Inter won at least 35 million euros for the player, which is more than double what we paid for him, which is even if he is sold, that would make it interesting to me to sell him for that kind of price. But you guys let me know, what do you think about Perisic's situation, but especially Dumfries? Would you sell him? What would you sell him for if you would? Is it 25, 30, 35, or do you want 40 or over? Let me know in the comments below. Or is he unsellable for you? And then the last thing I want to talk about is one of my personal favorites, one of my dreams that still remains there, Rodrigo De Paul. I couldn't believe it when I saw this report today, FC Internews exclusive, according to them, that they've dug up some reports or dug up some potential lingering interest from Inter that's never died. And we know that with Auxilio over the years, we know that once he likes a player, he usually doesn't quite give up. Even if he gets a move somewhere, he still has an interest with players that he has on his transfer list. And De Paul, as far as I know, guys, this is pretty much confirmed. If you ask a pretty well-connected journalist, Inter had everything in place, not this January, but 2 Januaries ago, under Conte, to bring De Paul in. 35 million, exactly what Atletico Madrid have paid for him from Udinese. The problem is Inter didn't have any money, didn't have any cash, they didn't have any liquidity at the time, so it was a painful loss for Serie A, but also for Inter. Hakan's come in, and as I've always said, Hakan is doing a great job. Free transfer, the way he settled in, amazing. But bringing in Rodrigo De Paul, you are challenging Barella, Hakan for their position. De Paul's even played as a regista in some points as well. This will be a proper step up in quality and depth. I think he would take Hakan's spot, in my personal opinion. I think he still adds that one. If you follow this channel, you know that I always say that Inter need a ball carrying midfielder, which is what De Paul is, especially in his Udinese days. And the Simeone's terrorist ball at the moment. He's killing all the creativity that De Paul used to show. And according to reports, Inter are looking to try open up the conversation with Atletico regarding a similar deal to what we did with the Sima Vishalko, if you remember, 3 or 4 years ago, a loan with option to buy. Especially with, at the moment, the reports are saying that De Paul isn't 100% happy with his position at Atletico. He's not a certain starter, and apparently, the spark with Simeone it's not quite there, the understanding between the two. So that's definitely one to look out for, and obviously it's got me buzzing and happy and feeling all giddy, but I don't see it happening, honestly speaking. It would be a big surprise to me if we ended up landing De Paul. And of course, there's still the rumours flying around about Lukaku. But one last thing I want to talk about is Thuram. Thuram is once again linked with the Inter. Yes, Lilian Thuram's son, but not Marcus Thuram, Kefren Thuram. This is Marcus Thuram's younger brother, a centre midfielder or a mezzala, 1 meter 91 tall. I've never watched him play. I've never actually heard of him before today, but reports are coming out today that Inter are looking at him as a low-cost alternative option. Young option, of course, young profile. Interesting, one to keep an eye out for. So, you've heard his name today. I've heard his name today. He plays for Nice in Ligue 1, so definitely now one player for you guys to get your scout books out and start scouting in the next coming weeks. But yeah, guys, that was it for today. Of course, keep a lookout tomorrow for the Roma match preview against Jose's boys, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the transfer rumors I was talking about today. And of course, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Ciao ragazzi, always Forza Inter.